We need to name the coach Jeff Jail. What a fantastic idea. Truly. Okay. Well, let's go ahead, jump in, and get things on the move, shall we? Dr. Moriarty, I approve. I approve of this statement. Well said. It's either Jeff Jail or Jeff Jail. None of this wishy-washy Jeff Jail. No. How dare. We do not send the Jeffs to the jail, and we don't send the Jeffs to the jail. That would just be chaos. It's all obvious and clear and extremely legible and very much distinct. Why would you muddy things? Honestly, you just have to be intentionally trying to troll if you were sending Jeffs to jail. Or Jeffs to jail. That's just... my goodness. And if no one has any bloody clue what I'm talking about, it's okay. You got your sanity. Be thankful for this. Hold on to it for as long as you can. Okay, let's begin a new journey. Now we're going to be in the tutorial-y area, I should imagine. I think we might even get a bit of a cutscene too. Let me know if you can hear this, okay, Trent?
Ruin has found you at last. My protege. My friend. Our calculations were correct. The ephemeral equation is unbalanced. The Earth spins on a strange and terrifying new axis. And everywhere, unbridled consequence. The world is a wasteland of failures past. And yet, you must ride out into it, unafraid. Take this. It is hope, the very last of it. It is yours now. You were bold once. Be bold once more. Free yourself from this suffocating stillness. Fix your gaze on the horizon. And face the fearsome truth of the darkest dungeon.
There we go. What a fantastic intro. Absolutely amazing. I love it. Rui, yes. Basically, I saved my progress that I had after the first taste and put it aside in case we ever do see an extended first taste. And this is now a completely reset profile, yeah. And yeah, Tiny Eric, Jeff and Jeff with a G and Jeff with a J, are pronounced exactly the same. Same as jail and jail. Jail with a G and jail with a J. Pronounced exactly the same. They're just different spellings of the word. They mean exactly the same thing as well. It's just, you know, Jeff and jail with a G are old school. More from the European side of things rather than the American side of things. That's the funny thing. It's like, you know, Italics has got the Jeffs, those backseaters of scallywags. And then I started playing around with the idea of the Jeff Jail for people who backseat in my place. But I didn't want to call them Jeffs. That would just be too derivative. No. They needed to be distinct. They needed a name that would set them apart. Show them to be the high-class Jeffs that they are, because obviously they're my Jeffs, and my Jeffs are inherently a higher class. They're much more snooty, much more aristocratic Jeffs. And so their name starts with a J. With a G, sorry. Not a J. Look, it's way too easy for a dyslexic person to get them wrong. Frankly, I'm amazed that I managed to get this far without having made that mistake once before. But yeah, so and jail is literally just where that is Golf Alpha Oscar Lima. That's what the word actually comes from. Jail with Juliet. That is just a simplification of jail with a golf. I believe this one is set after. I believe Darkest Dungeon 2 is set after Darkest Dungeon 1. I could be wrong, though. I could be wrong. All right. Thank you very much, the man, for the 13 months. That's a pretty good number for this time of the year. Also, Matt and Pro Jasper, thank you very much for your resubscriptions as well, both for 9 months. Diolch yn fawr. But let's get things going, shall we? It's high time. Denial is literally the sin, I guess. Well, it's not so much the sin. I'm not sure if the others are in. These are more than likely not, and they'll be added during early access. I do believe I've heard it said around about. I've not heard it said on any official channels, but I have no reason to suspect this is not the case. But during early access, it is exclusive to Epic, or at the very least, it's going to be exclusive for a year. I don't think they do anything shorter than a year's exclusive. But I should imagine it will eventually come to Steam for those of you who would rather make your purchases there because you've got all your games in one place that way. But for the time being, this is an exclusive on Epic, but it is an early access game, very much so. The original also was early access for a long while before it hit its full release. And they just added dungeons as they went. So I'm fairly certain that's going to be the case here. I'm fairly certain that's going to be the case here. But if you do fancy getting the game on Epic, you can use !buy this to get my referral link if you would also like to support the channel along with your purchase of the game. But with that, let's go ahead and jump into the game.
You have cowered in your crumbling denial.
Coward, rude.
Long enough.
I have done no such thing. I have stood boldly, waving my denial like a flag to ward off invaders.
The crossroads, where lost souls hope to find their way.
There we go. What's the first rule of Fight Club? Iron Cobra? That's right, it's not to talk about Fight Club. The same rule applies to the institution by which you just mentioned. Thank you very much. I'm not saying that you shouldn't be aware of it. I'm just saying you shouldn't talk about it. Nah, I'm not going to delete you. It's fine. Look, everyone knows. I imagine quite a few people were thinking what you said. It's just they had the good graces not to say it. Nothing is a crime unless you get caught. So just don't admit to it, you dummy. Right, okay. The crossroads. We've got all the tutorials up here. It's gonna pop these out all over the place because, as far as this profile is concerned, this is my first time through. Let us carry on. Right. I know a lot of you were looking forward to this part. We're gonna need some names. What is the current price of getting a name in game? It changes with the wind, you see, so I need to double check. This is a game where the characters are probably going to be here for quite some time. At least ideally. So, you're not getting it that cheap. No. No. Nope. Price has gone up. This is the darkest timeline. If you want to fight against it, you're gonna need to pony up quite a few dapper ducats. No, I need your ducats, Road Train. This coach is not cheap to run, I'll have you know. Alright, we're going to unlock the naming game. I'm going to allow this to run for a little bit. We're going to allow a couple of names to fill up. And then we'll use them as needed. I don't know how many runs we're going to get tonight. But at the end of the night, any names that haven't been redeemed, I will refund. So don't worry. No dapper ducats will be lost to the void. Unless Road Train is a scallywag. In which case, if Road Train gets jailed at any point during the stream, all current names in the list will be redeemed without actually getting a name. There you go. So, hashtag blame Road Train. Oh my god, Belial. You were waiting. You were stalking the shadows. An apex predator. Hadn't even said hello, but was here to get Leafy Poo into the name queue. My goodness. Well played. I'm going to be honest. I mean, you've just got to respect that kind of patience. Now, Belial is a seasoned veteran sniper. Barely even moved. Honestly, like a tarantula just crawling across his face. Didn't even blink. Didn't move a muscle. Eyes focused on the scope. Could barely even tell he was breathing. That was amazing. Okay, Leafy Poo it is. Also, let me just quickly get rid of that Tum Tunk, because they will be in the way constantly. There we are, Leafy Poo. Welcome.
Pride. More devastating than the horrors of 100 campaigns.
How's Aavak in chat today? Happy Halloween for many folks. Aavak is doing very, very well. Thank you very much for asking me. How is Belial? Have you been watching many scary films? Right, next up is Mithril with a capital L. You shall be our highwayman.
Hunted, harried, a fugitive seeking to outpace the past.
Oh no, Ryzel's getting swarmed by kids. Oh, ran out of candy. Oh no. See, this is always the way when you actually stock up for Halloween and for trick-or-treaters. You will either forget or you'll just grossly underestimate the demand and you will run out crazy early and feel ultra bad for ages. Or you will stock enough sweets and treats to sink a ship and no one will come. Or maybe one person will come. That's it. And you'll just be sat there like, why? And the worst thing is, you can't just keep it there. It's going to be gone off by the next year. Matten, the dapper baron,
Avarice slips unseen.
ridiculously
into the
wealthy.
catacombs of the mind.
Oh, Rui. Aavak cries in no one trick-or-treats in city flats. Oh, buddy, I'm sorry. Can we awesome description of how people die? What do you mean, Death? Do you want me to wax verbose when people perish? Are you requesting that I add some extra bells and whistles and embellishments, or I don't quite get the request there. The final member of our group shall be not you, Matten. Oh no, sorry, Matten's already there. Aquatami. There we go, Aquatami. Let's get you down there.
Indiscriminate science stains the surgeon's hands.
At your old friend's house, our top kid count was just... You see, even in the context of this conversation, Belial, reading that kind of has just inherent horror vibes to it. How many kids did you get? 500. Some of them are still under the stairs. I use Switch. Backseated with, I just don't like being in front seats. Fair enough. Yeah, that's completely fair. I can look at the skills of the character by pressing the sword icon. Oh, I know. I just don't need to. These are all the basic starter peeps. I've already played through, at least this far, with my first taste on YouTube. We, I think, got past the first inn after the tutorial. We were about halfway through the first area in that. That's as far as I've played the game, but before I first taste any game, I usually jump in for like an hour, depending on the tutorial length or how complex the game is, but I'll usually be extremely... When I'm not commentating and half my brain is focused on what I'm saying or thinking about what I'm going to say next or how I'm going to segue into a certain joke, I'm pretty thorough when I'm just playing a game. Darkest Dungeon footnote. The Plague Doctor is canonically female. Yes. The Plague Doctor has always been canonically female. At least as far as I'm aware. Was it not... Was the Plague Doctor not female in the first game? I'm a little bit confused. It has been so long that I don't remember. Well, take care, Rui. Enjoy the VODs, mate. And also, I hope you enjoy the rest of the whiskey. Okay, with that done, let's get out there. I love the autumnal look of this.
And sputtering.
Indeed.
The last hope for us all.
No, we're fine. 13 leagues to the inn. I love that it measures in leagues. Truly I do. No, I missed it. It is... I don't know if this comes across in watching videos. But it is actually really difficult to control these bloody horses. It seems like it should be the stupidly easiest thing in the world, but it is so easy to get out of sync, and then all you're effectively doing is dodging all of the detritus on the road, rather than hitting any of it. The academic's cash.
In crisis, no gain is insignificant.
Indeed. I will take all of these things. Thank you very much. Well stocked and ready for triage. Alright, let's have a quick look what we picked up. We've got a couple of items. We've got a minor anchoring charm. Move resistance. Oh. Yeah, sure. I'm going to give that to my tank, so my tank can't be pushed out of the area. Now, my tank typically is not going to be being used for applying items to people. That being said, it doesn't take a turn to use these, so it's quite nice. Combat item. If the target is stealth, removes the enemy stealth. I love that. Chalk dust. That's fantastic. Holy water. One target, negative token, or if they are comboed, removes all negative tokens. Not actually sure how to pass that, I'm going to be honest with you. Either way, moving on. Now you can double hit W. You can double tap W.
I remember our
and
first meeting on the steps
you
of
will
the
start
university. A
auto
collegial handshake
riding.
that would
Missed.
doom us both.
What happens when the flame goes to 0? Things get really difficult for you. Basically, how brightly the flame is burning affects your relative combat advantage. So it's very bright. Your people will be in a generally better mood because it's a little bit less oppressive around them. And so their interactions will have a significantly higher chance of being positive interactions. And also they will have distinct combat advantages. When you start a fight, you might have advantage, so your enemies might be caught off guard. They might be in an ambush situation, and as such, they're out of position and stuff like that, so they might have to take a turn to reorganize. But the same is true in the opposite. The darker it gets, the dimmer the light, the more likely that as the darkness starts to press inwards on your carriage, that the people inside will start to get a little bit more concerned, a little bit more on edge, and so their interactions will become increasingly more likely to be negative interactions socially. Likewise, the enemy will start having combat advantage, and you will start suffering combat disadvantage. It's very similar to the first. Does that baby have a mustache? No, it's the baby's hand on his... Does the baby have a mustache? That's not its mouth. That's the line between probably its little finger and the finger next to it. Oh, I love that that's what you saw though. It's like, is that just a really small man being swaddled and held against that fellow's shoulder? I can't unsee it now. The worst thing is that I can't unsee it now either. It looks like some guy with a moustache scowling. Ah, oh, damn it. What have you done? What have you done to us all? Oh, that's fantastic. Truly. I just don't even... There are no evens that I can't afford to don't. Firebear, thank you very much for the sub there, mate. Diolch yn fawr iawn. That was fantastic, truly. Alright. The Desperate Few. You can go. You can go. Now, this is one of the things I really like, is that characters will have different opinions about things. And you will get different rewards. So, for in this case, we would gain food and we'd gain torch, which we dire need, because right now, because it's dark, heroes have got +3 crit and +30% chance of affinity changes. And enemies have +1 speed, +6% crit, +10% resistance, +33% enemy battle advantage chance. Matin, we light the way for more than merely us. Or Mithril, it's on us to carry the torch on this long road. Now, both of them are okay with this. No one has a dissenting opinion. So what will happen here is I can't choose. If they have nothing to say, I can't make a choice for them. So if no one had anything to say, I would just have to leave this encounter with nothing to do. But if you hover over someone, and everyone who kind of has an opinion that is in alignment with theirs will have a golden aura, and anyone who has an opinion that is opposed to theirs will have a blue aura. When you select someone's option, and quite often you'll select it based on the rewards. In this case, the rewards are exactly the same, but you'll select an option. Anyone who would agree with them will have maybe a stress reduction, or will just get into a better mood, might even have a positive affinity change between the people. And anyone with a blue aura will have the opposite. They may gain stress, or they may gain a negative opinion modifier of the person who you chose. Well, we'll go with Mithril. There we go. Happy.
In this world, wealth is worthless without purpose.
Indeed. It's kind of true in general, honestly. Right, okay. Let's move on. We've got a little bit of a speed gain and resistance now as well. Try and hit these. The carriage is incredibly robust. It can easily deal with smashing into any debris. Which
winds whip more harshly on the far side of the brook.
Is honestly a little bit mean, I'm gonna be honest. Because it's like the carriage might be able to do it, but what about the bloody horses? They're the ones that are running into things. But the game will be like, no, it's fine. You should run into stuff because you can find things that way. It's like, but the horses, though. I'd be more inclined to run into things if the chariot was being pulled by thralls because, like it or not, humans are basically the orc/zombies of real life. Compared to all of the other animals around, we just don't bloody die. We break a leg? Ah, well, best just walk it off. A horse breaks a leg? Well, that's it for old Yella, sadly. You can't crash. No, the horses are much more intelligent than thralls. The thralls will just run us off a cliff just to spite the scallywags with the whip. The horses, though, they're like, nah, I'd rather not die. Aavak, the bottom left and or Plague Doctor affinity preview in those options is broken. It doesn't warn you of potential change. Really? But I seem to recall that it has done in the main game. That's really interesting, Wolf. Thank you very much for that backseat pass there. I'll keep an eye on that, but I'm fairly certain that in our first taste we had at least one instance of someone in the bottom left having an affinity border. But I'll keep my eye out specifically for that. Thank you very much for the info. This is early access, Big Bit. Very much early access. Are we on the carriage for the whole game? Yes. This is the game for us. We don't have a hamlet. We have a carriage. But we upgrade the carriage, and then we make stops at inns every now and then. They're kind of like the waypoint markers on the trip. You're welcome, Big Bit. It's early access, and at least for the time being, I'm not sure if for the entirety of its early access or just for part of the time, or at least a year, I should imagine, it is exclusive to Epic. You can use !buy this to get a referral link there, or just the link to the store page if you don't want to use the referral link. Okay, combat. We're not going to go through the tutorial there. We're just going to have a look at this. This is our turn order up top. So you're going to be the first one to go. I don't see how when you will go, but it's possible that we will get Tanky Boy in front, Leafy Poo. I do actually like that this is explicit, by the way. Although they could show you the whole round, they explicitly don't. And the reason for it is you can plan a little bit ahead, but you can't plan ahead entirely. You can plan a little bit into the future, but you can never guess exactly how things are going to go. I kind of like that the game is like full on like, yeah, we could give you more information. We're just not going to, though. Orgias Plusk, I've seen a lot of people with a similar view to that. I still haven't formed a full opinion. Honestly, for me, the difference between 2 and 1 is big enough that I'm not really comparing the games to each other in that regard. They have a thematic continuity, but the core mechanics are changed in a large enough way that I feel that they stand apart such that they should be evaluated individually. Does that make sense? I think there will be some people who prefer this style, the pure roguelike, and some people who prefer Darkest Dungeon 1 for the more colony management, not quite colony management, but you see what I mean, the more expedition style rather than this is a single roguelike run. This is more roguelike, whereas number 1 was much more roguelite, if that makes sense. Yeah, no, I know quite a few people who just straight up prefer the feeling of the town, the hamlet, to the coach. Absolutely. I, as a massive roguelike fan, and I mean really big, as in to the point that You know, some roguelike fans are like, oh yeah, I go onto the roguelike Reddit, and some bigger roguelike fans, I'm on the original roguelike Reddit, not the offshoot forked one that kind of came up for all of the people who aren't old school enough to appreciate true roguelikes. And then there's the people like me who view Reddit in that regard. I don't actually cast any shade on Reddit. I'm actually on quite a few different roguelike dev Reddits, but old school roguelike forums way back. Honestly, some people on there like so ancient and venerable and know so much about roguelikes. Honestly, I suspect that they actually communicate on the internet not by typing on a keyboard. They just run magnets over a hard drive to manipulate the bits individually. So, for me, I feel this is more of a pure roguelike than the original. And I do like that a lot. Nevertheless, let's jump into this. Also, I see you there, Song Swift Eye, with the gift sub. I shall be taking care of that. Many hours of lurking have paid off. Time to dispense the largesse. How do you pronounce that? I'm not sure how you pronounce that. And talking about not being able to pronounce things, you've no idea how long it took me to work my head around how to pronounce Shenrir's name. An embarrassingly long time, considering he was occasionally introducing himself with his name when we first met, because we were doing a collab on Factora. Hey, Shen! Hello, Raiders, welcome! I'm seeing a depressingly small amount of Dapper robes in chat. The raid defense is... Frankly, I don't even think you'd need a Trojan horse to get in at this point. You could just walk up to the gates and ask them to be opened, and someone would just open the gates for you. What are you doing, Dapperlings? My goodness. Ruinous. It's too late now. You're all slaves. You've probably all been captured, thrown in cages. You're being carted off. You're going to be working in the salt mines. You have yourselves to blame. No. Too late for the defense. Okay, maybe you can put up a last-ditch effort to repel the invaders, but I don't know. It's like your torch is at least like 2. You've got 2 light. You're playing at a distinct disadvantage at this point. But hey, Oshen, how are you doing, mate? How was your run? We're very early on. We just started. I actually wiped my profile from my first taste on YouTube so that we could have the whole thing nice and fresh. So for the time being, we've still got the tutorial messages popping up quite a lot. This is still actually the tutorial battle. How are you finding it so far? We were just, as it happens, having a bit of a conversation about the differences between this and Darkest Dungeon 1. And I was pointing out that I felt that the games were dissimilar enough that I don't really think that you can make a straight comparison between the two of them. Like, I don't think you can compare which one is better, 1 or 2, because I feel that they are almost different genres. So you have to just say you prefer one genre to the other, rather than 2 is worse than 1. 2 is different than 1. I feel that 2 is very much more of a roguelike experience, a 1 run and done, but with a little bit of meta progression, so technically a roguelite. Whereas Darkest Dungeon 1 was very much more a full-on roguelite experience. Like, the meta progression was a central core hub that you came back to. And the whole one and done kind of run idea just didn't exist. You could lose people out and about, but you could always get more people. The run didn't end really until you decided to end it. Yeah, Rock Hopper Penguin, it's no longer a defense. This is more of a rebellion. Basically, Shen Raiders came in and conquered the city, and then his army has started moving away, looking for another place to conquer, and now the people are starting to form an uprising. You know, there's unrest in the city. It may rebel in like 5 turns. I mean, you know, I'm all for the underdog battle. I can dig it. Right, okay, so These are fairly easy opponents. We're not going to have any trouble here. There's no death below resistance. And also, we've got, like, no abilities. Interestingly, though, you've got a bit of dodge straight off the bat. I like it. Okay, but with 13 health, and we could probably just get through a whole run here. We're going to go for you, because there's a chance I'll be able to get all 4 of my people to attack you before your turn. Whereas I've only got 3 people before you move. Yeah, we're going to get all 4 to attack here. That'll be fine. I don't know if they're going to give me any... I don't believe they have any status debuffs. So I'm just going to go for a Noxious Blast, just to make sure that you actually do die on your turn. Even if I can't quite get enough damage. Riposte is going to be a nice one here, I think. Let's get in there. We're going to go for my tank. Ooh, crit. Okay. Not much damage, mind. But, ooh. Double stress. I disapprove. We could stun you. How much health you got? You've got 4 HP, and you're going to take 4 points of damage. There's no point. So instead, let's just go start walloping you.
Early results
dead.
Are encouraging.
Indeed. I absolutely love Riposte. It is such a powerful ability, in my opinion. Okay, we've picked up a minor ablative, a couple of relics, and a mastery point.
Are you shaken? There is so much worse in store.
Also, how far has Shen managed to get? How many different regions has Shen managed to get through? Because I don't know how many regions exist. Like, does it just keep going onwards and onwards and onwards? I don't know. Hey, Banlish! Hello, mate! Welcome, Raiders! Now, the Daplings learned their lesson from the last raid. I don't know. I'm not seeing many robes yet. I'm seeing a lot of Raider emotes. Ah, Daplings, what are you doing? Okay, I'm starting to see a couple of robes. The raid defense is sort of underway. We're fighting a war on 2 fronts. We've just had a raid. Lots of the Daplings are tired. The ones that actually mustered a defense are exhausted because they probably lost, and the ones that got sent to the salt mines and didn't put up a resistance are tired because they've been in the salt mines all day. Ah, there we go. There we go. The Daplings are awake after all. Well done. Hello, Panlish. How are you doing, though, mate? I hope you've had a wonderful stream. What were you playing? You were playing the Long Dark, another pretty good game for the time of year. I hope your run was going well, buddy. That's another game that I really need to play. I've been putting off grabbing that game for so long, for no good reason. Like, it's just a lack of time more than anything, which I suppose is the best reason, really. But I really want to get into it. I've seen so many of my friends have played that game and have got nothing but good things to say about it. It definitely looks like a game that I would enjoy. No, it has been a while. I don't usually stream this early, to be fair. Well, that's really, really kind of you, Banlish. Thank you so much. And welcome. Welcome, friends, and not yet friends, but kind of our friends. You'd be just friends that don't know each other's names yet. That's basically the modus operandi, if you're Welsh. There's no such thing as strangers. Strangers are just friends that you haven't been introduced to. Shen has finished the game 2 times. Wow, that is actually incredibly impressive. Wow, okay, so the Long Dark is the 3rd game you ever streamed. And I imagine it does have a special place, yeah. Like back in 2015 in December, I was streaming Long Dark with pneumonia. Ooh, to keep the streak going and such. Ah, yes, keeping that streak going. Dabblings, if you're not familiar with Banlish, first and foremost, please do make yourselves available. There is a link in chat. Go ahead and click that and drop Banlish a follow. You will not regret it. Banlish is a fantastic content creator. Plays a lot of similar games that you will have seen around these parts. Variety streamer, so there's always something new on the horizon over there. So please do check them out. A super, super cool guy. Very, very chill and happy vibes over there. You will enjoy. Streak over in 59 days. Freedom awaits. Bless. Is Nightbot not being kind to Bilal? Naughty Nightbot. But yes, as soon as Bilal can get that shout out there, or if you care to scroll back far enough, then please do drop Shen a follow as well. I should imagine most Dapplings are already quite familiar with Shen. Shen has been a good friend of the channel for over long, frankly. We're growing old together, Shen and I. They were last playing Darkest Dungeon 2 and apparently have already completed the game twice, which is certainly a lot better than you're probably going to see here tonight. So, after our umpteenth failure, if you want to see a success or two, you may want to drop by Shen and check out a couple of his VODs. But the sounds of it. Right, we're at the inn. Now, I love the idea of the inn here. So, we get a little bit of info. Mithril and Matten became more friendly, always nice. Keeping your party members in high spirits will help encourage them to develop positive relations, and that can really, really help out. Now, we've got a bunch of tools here. One is an upgrade for our stagecoach. We've got a couple of other items as well, in items. So this speed bag, chance to spawn a dodge token each turn until the next inn. I'm going to give this to my highwayman. There we are. And we've also got a dartboard. Now, this will remove 1 stress from 2 people. High chance of improving their affinity, but a very small chance of harming it. Now, this is blocked by blundering, Crumdudgeon, Lazy Eye, and Misses the Mark. So it depends on if Leafy Poo or Matten have either of these traits. Let's have a proper look. So, Leafy Poo has Resilient. If HP is below 50% at the round start, there's a chance of losing 1 stress, a 25% chance. And a Tone Rotator Cuff, that's not very good. That's minus damage. We've got Mithril with a Sunny Disposition, unwaveringly positive. And also a Crumdudgeon. Begrudgingly accepts the existence of others. So I feel that these are maybe kind of work against each other a little bit. This is yeah. What? Oh, that's lovely. Thank you so much, Dapplings, for following through on that. That was absolutely lovely. You're welcome, Banlish. All of them very much deserved. Yeah. Happy to be here, but screw you guys. That is exactly what Mithril is about right now. We've got Nocturnal over here. Ah, Matten. Person after my own heart. If flame is less than 50, then Matten gets +1 speed, and if flame is less than 50, also +15 damage, and misses the mark. No! At a turn start, you get 10% chance to be blinded. Ah, that sucks. Okay, Akwatami's on guard. You have 2 dodge and +1 speed at combat start. And anemic. You're just more likely to bleed. And at the round start, you've got a 15% chance to be dazed. Well, that is utterly, utterly poop. Not gonna lie, not great. So I guess the dartboard is going to be Leafy Poo and... can't be either of these. Crumdudgeon and Misses the Mark, so I guess it has to be Aquatana. Okay. Though my fingers is be clumsy, I do something. Juvenile pastimes do lighten the mood. Okay, well, that reduced Leafy Poo's stress a little bit. That is an unfortunate pairing of problems there, though. Yeah, no, absolutely, Banlish. They've managed to keep the aesthetic of Darkest Dungeon so well with this. I love that they brought back the same narrator. It wouldn't have been Darkest Dungeon without that narrator. Let's be honest. Without that narrator, it would not have been Darkest Dungeon. It would have been grimdark, sure, but not Darkest Dungeon. But it is a very different experience. A very different experience.
Learn what can be taught, that you may stand just a little taller at the end.
Okay, what I'm going to go for is Ounce of Patience. Just straight away Ounce of Patience, because this is going to give us better resistances plus -1 stress. And I really cannot emphasize how good that is. The only other one worth going for would be Blinding Gas right now, because that hits 2 people and has a chance of dazing them. What do you think, chat? The ability to remove stress on the battlefield, or a better chance of messing up the back line of the enemies?